Hi, this is Rose Martin, and I'm wondering, how would you like to have a time each month we can get together with the Lord and have kind of a business meeting with Him? A time where you combine the spiritual with the practical of your everyday life. That is what the New Moon Festival is all about, where we take the spiritual and match it, align it with what we're doing in our world. We take our plans, our thoughts, our lives, speak to the Lord about them, get His insight into what's going on in the heavenlies, and then get His spiritual insight on how to carry it through the month. The months reflect in themselves a cycle of beginnings, fullness, and endings. And this is how our life is in every way. We've got beginnings, fullness, and endings. I mean, we always want things that when they start and they're good, they go on and on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, if things didn't stop, I mean, we'd be in outer space somehow with some things sometimes. I mean, things have to kind of slow down and come to an end. You can't sustain maximum all the time. So this is one of the things that the new moon teaches us, the cycles of life from beginning, when the first little sliver, all the potential, all the promise, all the freshness, the beginning, the fresh start, then working towards to fullness, accomplishment, completion, and then reviewing and bringing it in again to the next month to begin. Now, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're going through this step and then finishing. I mean, you can't finish everything in a month and then start over again, but it's just the general cycle. And after you start following this for a while, you can kind of get in the flow and realize where you are in the stage. And most of all, it's how to communicate with the Lord during this time. You know, when we go through our seasons, we are now in the month of October. The new moon is October 8th. And as each month in the physical has a different feeling, flavor, focus, purpose, it also has a feeling, purpose, essence in the spiritual realm. Every month has a different flavor. So, as say, for example, now it's getting to be autumn here, and the trees are going to start losing their leaves. Or first, they're going to change colors, beautiful colors, and then eventually fall off. And it's going to get cooler. Some weather is going to be strong. I mean, so these are the physical things of what's happening around us. But in the spiritual realm, there are also things happening. As believers, this is our joy, our thrill to be able to communicate with God and read the signs of the heavens, the signs of the times. The Lord says you can read the sky. You can see the clouds being red, at nighttime and all this. It means something, but you don't know the signs of the times. The signs of the times can be political times and things that are going on, shifts and changes, but they're also signs of the times in the heavenlies that the Lord shows us. And with training and prayer and meditation, we can start learning what these signs mean. And so we get together every month with the Lord, give the month to Him, and ask Him for His insight and get understanding of the atmosphere, the message. What does He want us to work on? It's both an individual thing where you work with the Lord, spend time with Him, but also corporately, because there's a corporate message too, where we could all get together on the same page in the heavens, the heavenly information, not a denomination's information, not a pastor's information, not a society's information, because these are the kind of things that separate us and divide us. But we're going to get heavenly information. And each month, the Lord takes the sun and the moon, His indicators that He created in Genesis for times and seasons, to tell us what's going on. And this month, the sun and the moon, conjunct together, in the sign in the month now of Cheshvan, Cheshvan, or Cheshvan, however you want to say it. It's the 8th month of the religious calendar and the 2nd month now of the civil calendar. So, biblically speaking, we have just come through the High Holy Days, where we had a month of preparation in Elul to cleanse ourselves, to prepare ourselves, to seek the Lord. You see, this is an exercise for ourselves, a spiritual exercise. And we have to put some effort into this, to spend time with the Lord, to meditate, to think, to study, to make Him part of ourselves. And people do this for themselves, for their bodies, for physical exercise, for training. They train themselves to be strong and healthy and fast and strong. But the word says in Timothy, 1 Timothy 4:8, I believe it is, that physical training is of some value, but the spiritual training is what's more important. We need spiritual training, and this is what the new moon helps us to do, is identify spiritual issues that we can then work with through the month, and then also work with the energies and the flow, kind of get an insight, a weather map as to what is happening this month. And again, we can plan, we can think, we can dream and all that, but the Lord has the final say. Man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. So this month, as we take a look now to the 8th month, Cheshvan, it is the month of death and spiritual rebirth. So we just came through this time, as I was saying, with Elul, where we prepare ourselves. Then we had the cleansing, the purification, the changes and that we've wanted to make in the world with our proclamations of this new year, of committing ourselves to the Lord again, and experiencing the closeness, the purification. We are the purest, the most cleansed, the most focused when we come out of these high holy days, because we've been focusing on this. The love of the Lord has grown. The insight has grown. So now here we are. The party's over. And here we are now in Cheshvan. What do we do now? Now is reality. All those wonderful times and the praising and worshiping and being in a holy of holies with the Lord, that's not with us every day. So now here we are. How are we going to make those changes? How are we going to overcome the habits, the patterns, the things that we don't want anymore? How do we start and implement the new things of our new walk now, our spiritual rebirth? That's what it's all about this month. And the main thing is then to not fear the new. Behold, I make all things new. The new is good. And not to be afraid from going from the old and jumping. Sometimes it's like a leap. We got to jump to the new. New things going on, new changes. We got to jump. And so this month we are taking stock of ourselves again and saying, how do I make the changes? Lord, help me to walk this new way out. Help me to be successful in this. Change me, make me how I need to be. Bring new circumstances, new ways into my life to bring this new way about. Now that's Cheshvan every month, every year. But this year in particular, the focus and looking in the heavenlies and what's going on up there with the principalities, powers, angels, archangels, the various names of God. There's all kinds of things speaking to us from the heavenly realms. The focus on this month is relationships, other people, relationships. And if you think about it, a lot of times our new beginnings and our new ways do deal with relationships. We are in still a time right now where a lot of things are shifting and changing. There are a lot of structures being broken down, established structures in government, in religion, in family relationships, in our values. All this is being stirred up, almost brought down, and is now being ready to be prepared again, to be built up into God's ways over a period of time. This period of upheaval is still going to go on a little bit because now everything's up in the air. So now how do you deal with it and bring it back down and make something civil out of it? So it's going to go on for a while. But in the midst of it, now we're able to start over again, our spiritual rebirth, our start again in the 8th month, the 2nd month of the civil calendar. And so now where do we start? And the Lord wants us to look at relationships, other people. How do we treat other people? And through this time of maybe changing values or being caught up in some of this stuff, and maybe some people you deal with all the time don't agree with it. I mean, relationships could be strained at this time. So it's a focus on relationships. How do you interact with people? What is the value of these other people in your life? You evaluate the people. What is my value to them? The particular bent this time is that it's gonna be a deep evaluation, probing, deep, looking at the painful, uncomfortable things. And so this is a time where the Lord will help you to sort through things, to kind of see, are you in this relationship just to keep the peace, and keep things going good, at the expense of your purpose and calling and future? Do you feel stifled all the time for yourself? You can't get going what you want to do, but you're in a relationship and you got to be peaceful and kind and got to give of yourself so that you can make this relationship work. Well, this is the time now to see, is this what's going on? Am I able to do what I need to do, even in this relationship? And the worst of all things is if it's time to end a relationship. And then, you would realize through this month that this time now maybe it is over. And, friendships and associations and all that may not be for your highest purpose. If you're in a relationship, then you're committed as marriage and all that. It could be a time where you say, okay, well, we're going to be peaceful here, but I got to break out and do some things on my own to start satisfying, fulfilling what needs to be done in my life, in my relationship with others. So you might have to take a break there, but it's about relationships. And in order to heal some relationships, some things may have gone on for some time, differences of opinion, different issues that may require difficult conversations to understand, to get it off your chest, to help understand each other, to ask each other for forgiveness and to start over again. Could be a thing like that. So it's a time of relationships. And in your own life, if you've been dealing with relationships with people, maybe not getting along, maybe having problems with certain people, this is the time now to seek the Lord on it and speak with him. And envision in your mind how would you like it to be? How would you like it to be? Because that's the first step in changing, is your vision of something different, something to attach yourself to, a direction to move forward to. So see, what is the vision of you and this person, you and this group? It could be your work relationships too. How are they going? And is there any area that needs to be adjusted? I mean, you may be just fine. You may be just fine. Could be then mostly your relationship with the Lord. How do you implement that into your everyday life? So this is the thing that we're focusing on this month, is the relationships and the value that they are, and to get those under control. And again, now this whole month and even longer, it's a review of relationships. And later on in the month at the full moon, it's going to be review of your attachment to your things, resources, how relationship as far as resources and money and your attachment to these kind of things. But for now, it's other people. Stepping away from you, how do you interact? So this is now part of our new spiritual beginning, where we're asked to look now at relationships. And some parts are going to be like tough love this month. It's not all easy. I just want to say this month is not all easy. because relationships involve feelings, and there's feelings involved with this. And so this is the main thing this month is the feelings. So and relationships, as I should say. This month is also the month of new beginnings as far as the symbolic number representation. 8 is the month, new beginnings. And biblically, the new beginnings was that the earth from the flood began to emerge on this month. And just in our recent times now, my husband pointed out October 8th is Columbus Day. And that sure was a new beginning and a big leap of faith to make that step. You know, we each have our own walk with the Lord. And we, of course, have our public walk, which we walk with our fellow believers, brothers and sisters. We, in our congregations, we're worshiping together, having basically the same beliefs. You know, we hang around people, we have the same beliefs. And we have a community type of walk with the Lord. But we also have our own individual path. And this path is one that is the narrow path. And it's the one that we have to take seriously because we are responsible for our lives. And this is the path that we take the extra step to spend time with the Lord. To now stop and think, Lord, what would you want me to do with relationships? How am I in relationships? And then, you know, you might want to look up verses that deal with relationships or that speak to you about who you are and who the people are. You might want to align yourself properly with the relationships. You know, what are your boundaries with people? The boundaries are, you know, are you doing your part? Are you not encroaching on someone else's stuff, or is someone encroaching onto yours? So boundaries is also an issue with relationships. So this is the thing to have in your mind, either in your devotion time, be serious and study, and then throughout the month, think about it as you interact with people, and then maybe have those hard conversations that you might have to have. And it's also a time that perhaps someone from a relationship from the past will emerge again. And this is a new time, the new time we've been looking forward to with some relationships, that they would be a gift from God again to have. So I just encourage you this month in the new beginnings, the month of death and a spiritual rebirth. The zodiac for this month is Scorpio. Scorpio has its own characteristics, but one of them is that there are different signs for Scorpio. One is the scorpion, which is the stinger and the toxic one kind of, and then the eagle. So Scorpio kind of represents the earthly, fleshly person that we got to work around, the jealousies, possessiveness, controlling, the manipulating aspects of relationships. Those are all based out of fear, really. Fear, you don't know your path, so you want to control everybody else's, and you're afraid to let go and let God in your path. You're afraid, so you got to control everybody because it might not go the way you think it should. Whereas if you rise above, crucify the flesh, ego, all that, rise above to God's fullness, the higher level, the higher understanding. This is the eagle. The eagle flies. We all have heard so much about eagles, you know, the independence and the ability to navigate and freely fly without flapping its wings like crazy. You know, it just glides, knows where to go with the Lord. So this is our focus too this month. We want to glide, we want to be like eagles, soaring with the Lord, with His understanding of our lives, confidence in His being able, that we can follow Him and maneuver. And I'll tell you this, following His cycles now is what's going to help you to rest assured that you are following in His way. Every month has a cycle, and within the cycle is another cycle. And this is all to be learned. For the past 3 years, I've been studying, and I tell you, I must have put over 4,000 hours into this already, even more. I want to tell you too, I'm going to be changing my life now because The season of us living in this RV and driving around the country is come to an end. We are going to be landing this month and getting an apartment. We don't want to be too committed because we don't really know where the place is, but we know that we've been in one place too long. It's time for us to go somewhere that's much more convenient with us. So what I thought was going to be a bus ride tour of the country, instead the Lord gave me a tour of heaven. And he opened my eyes to such wonderful things, which I'm just starting to share with you. But the heavens are speaking to us. And if we can align ourselves with the flow of God, the plan of God, as we take it step by step, don't be afraid. You do have to pray about it, though, because it is an issue for believers to start looking into the heavenlies. We've been taught that it's not right for us. But you know who's looking at the heavenlies? People who don't even believe in God. They may believe in Creator. They may believe in a God. But they do not. The people generally who believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob don't even look to the heavens. We look to our cell phones. But the heavens, we're not too scientific for God to speak to us through the heavens. It's a lost art that God wants to keep in our lives. It says in Ezekiel and in Isaiah that in the and the new heaven and new earth, for new moon to new moon, from Sabbath to Sabbath, these things will not end. But we can study them now and get in tune with it, in tune with God's flow. And each month we look forward to the new moon. What are we going to spend time with now with the Lord? What's he going to show us this month? And when you study this even more, you can get more specifics about your life specifically. Now we're, all looking at relationships in your life. We could see what relationships. So we're doing a general thing now for everybody, for your congregation. All the congregation could be looking for relationships. All the congregation. Another wonderful thing we could do with the new moon is pray for Israel together in one accord. What area is Israel dealing with this month? And generally what Israel is dealing with, of course, dealing with many things, but the focus that we can have this month is on the secret enemies, secret things, secret issues. Now, these could be secret issues. Generally, they're secret issues, secret things come against the people. Also deals with homeless people. So we know there's a lot of people over there struggling for homes and a lot of issues, secret enemies from other countries. And especially with all that's going on in the world right now, we should just logically know there's secret enemies. So for Israel, we would pray for the secret enemies to be destroyed, to be stopped, dismantled, and for Israel to catch wind, to be aware, to be protected during this time. So things like this, individually, corporately, in your congregation, and as a body of believers, looking at God's indicators, not man's indicators, so that we don't have to worry about a denomination. We could all worship the Lord in unity and in truth. So anyhow, that is this month, the 8th month of the biblical calendar, Cheshvan, and the 2nd month now in our new civil year. So hopefully you've gotten off to a good start, and hopefully you'll have some very good relationship reports to say at the end of this month. And I just want to give a little update. Last month we talked about, again, getting rid of things that are not necessary for your life. I guess we're getting prepared now all the way to just be ready for a new start. The whole world is, and so are we. Getting rid of things that we don't need anymore. Time for a new start. And then this coming time now will fill in with God's ways of the new things. But what I just realized in our family, and we're getting ready to move now in a week or so, but in our family, everyone, my kids, both of the kids, our sisters, our mother, everyone has moved. and our nieces and nephews. I mean, it's just amazing. I guess we all needed a change of atmosphere, change of location. So that's what we're doing over here with our family. We're changing all around. And I guess now we have to make new friends in our new relationships and our new area. So that's what we're going to work on now, our friendships and associations, partnerships, and of course the ones that we already have. And we're looking forward to positive things happening this month in the area of relationships. So that's it for this month. I hope you've got a good one, and I will see you next month. And I just pray that you start getting the flow. Just start looking outside. If you look out on the new moon, you're not going to see much. But as the moon continues on, as the month continues on, and it's unpredictable, it's fluid, it's different. It'll be here this night, and here another night, and this size this night, indicating our lives, ebb and flow. Take a look at it. God put it there for you so that you can grow and also be awestruck by his awesomeness. Only God could keep this whole thing under control. So God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.